Okay, so I guess we are live now. Okay, just a second, let me check all the settings once. Yes, looks fine from my side. So hi everyone, good evening once again, and sorry I'm a little late, but yeah, we can resume our session. So before we start the session, can anybody confirm in the chat window, am I audible properly and can you see my screen as well? And what about the video streaming, how it is it smooth, is it buffering? Okay guys, please give me quick confirmation, then only we'll start. I cannot see any confirmation. Is there any issue? Let me just type. Am I audible? I can see a few questions, so let me take that questions, but let me get some confirmation first. Okay, let me quickly check from my phone as well. Okay, so I am not able to see chat here. It could be some issue from the chat part. I can see a few questions. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me read comments from my channel instead of the streaming. Just a second, I have not. Okay. Okay, perfect. Now I can see all the chats. So yeah, good evening everyone. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So let me see if you are new, if you are from the live last sessions, few are joining from day from today. So Pallavi says today is my first day, Mukesh, why I'm not able to join. So Pallavi, today is day 12. We have done couple of sessions in the past. All are available on iNeuron portal and on my YouTube channel as well. Please go ahead and watch. Okay, thank you all for the confirmation. Rakesh says sometime not able to, my face is not visible. Yes, sometimes it's giving issue, but yeah, most of the time it's visible. Sanjay also have joined. Hi Sanjay, thank you so much joining. Okay, Nishant have very interesting question. Hi Mukesh, could you please spend 10-15 minutes on the session today for how your resume should be prepared for with automation experience, as most of the time resumes are getting rejected when applied. Okay, that we can take it. So resume preparation, I actually already planned a dedicated session. So not today, maybe Monday or Tuesday, or maybe the last Friday, or next week Friday we'll have the resume discussion. See, Nishan, most of the times why these resumes are getting rejected, not because the resume is not good. Right? Sometimes the skill set doesn't match. Sometimes the project, I don't think it creates much impact. Most of the times your skill, the first page of your resume decides whether you will be shortlisted or not. Interview is a different part altogether, but the first page of your resume should be very attractive. Okay, project part everybody knows, right? Like nobody share the same project, so that's different story. But the first page of your resume creates so much impact. Apart from resume, nowadays people are asking your GitHub profile as well, right? Your contribution towards different communities, Stack Overflow, Reddit as well. So make sure at least you start engaging with the Git repositories as well. Create your own Git repository, make a lot of changes, create some scripts for the community, because obviously you cannot share your own the company's GitHub repository, but parallelly you should have some contribution toward the open source community that creates a lot of impact. A lot of companies like ThoughtWorks, they pay more attention to your GitHub profiles as well. Okay, so make sure at least you have few repository and start contributing. Okay, so Pallavi says I'm on YouTube. Okay, great. Is this last day? No, Gokul, it is not a last day. We will have still 5 more sessions. But yes, this series is little bit mixed, I would say. Initially we started with basic introduction. Okay, then we did little bit intermediate part. Then we are discussing interview questions, and we will discuss about test engine Maven. Ideally I should have done first basics, intermediate, test engine Maven. At last I should have done resume or interview part, but it's a slight mistake from my mind, I would say. I should have done planning little carefully, but anyways, interview questions are the main part. Okay, so let's continue. So before the live itself, there were 2 questions, one from Deepa, one from Ashish as well, that I will take, but let's continue with the session. So I have created couple of questions again for interviews that I would like to highlight. Okay, so there are a couple of questions. First of all, the question comes, can we perform database testing, okay, using Selenium? You will see a lot of in lot of interviews they will be asking, because when you start working, right, it's not only the UI test that you will be doing. You will be having a couple of scenarios where you need to check certain things on the UI. You will be performing some validation on the database as well, right? Whether, let's say, you created some records on the UI, now you want to validate whether these records are inserted properly in the database as well. Okay, in that case you have to write 2 tests, one for the UI, one for the database, because on the UI it will say, okay, registration done, or maybe the login done, or let's say the payment part done, but you need to also cross verify, right, whether either through API. So if your developers have exposed APIs for the databases, it's very easy. You'll make a API call, you will get the response, and you can validate. But suppose if there's no APIs exposed by the developers for that database, you have to actually connect to the database for the particular database, particular table. Okay, and then you can fetch the complete records and validate. So officially there's no official support from Selenium side to connect with the database, but there's a 4 lines of code in database. Okay, so sorry, in Java, which we have a concept called JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. So depends on what database you're using, you have to download their driver. Okay, you can connect to the database with one command. You have to pass the driver database URL, username, password. It will get connected. Then you can run any SQL query, you will get a result set. Then you can iterate this result set and you can look for a specific data. You want a specific row, you want multiple rows, you are looking for a specific column. It depends what kind of SQL query you are firing. So you can fire that query, you will get the result, and you can validate. So officially not supported by Selenium, but in Java using JDBC we can do that. So answer is no, but using JDBC we can do that. Now we missed this part, how to verify the broken link and how to verify the broken images. Now there are multiple applications which will have multiple links and multiple images as well, right? So as part of smoke scenarios, it would be your task to validate whether all the links are working fine or not. All the images are displaying properly, they are not broken, right? So if it is one or two images, one or two links, it's perfectly fine. You can write a proper assertion like open that link, capture the title URL, and you can do that. But the moment you have multiple images, multiple links, manually, obviously it's possible, but it's time consuming. And when you go with the second approach, where you will right click on the image or open that image manually or open that link manually, verify the title URL, that again is a time consuming and it's not a good approach. So here we have to do a small tweak. Whatever image we have or whatever link we have, so if it is a link, you will have src. Sorry, if it is a link, you will have href. If it is an image, you will have src. In both the cases, you will get a URL, right? You need to make an API call, you will get a response. So you just need to validate. If your API response is coming within 2x's category or 3x's category, it means your link is working fine. If it is coming inside 4x's category, 5x's category, it means it's failed. So that's a quick way to do that. So this is, you can do, suppose if you have 1000 links, okay? So you can just make an API call, get the response, API call, get the response. This is using a sequential execution. But if you do it parallelly, that is another thing which you can do using testing, TestNG. But if you use streams API in Java, so in Java 8 we have parallel stream. It means you can execute the complete collection also in the parallel. That can reduce the execution time by 50%. So the simplest and easy way, make an API call, get the response. If the response in 2x's, 3x's category, pass, otherwise fail. Third validation, I will say, if you want to collect the number of links or images which is broken, you can write a separate logic as well, where if the response is coming in 2x's, 3x category, do not do anything. But if the link is broken, create one array list or create a set, store that links into the set, so that once your test is done, you will get a list or you will get a set which says these are the links are broken. Now if you want the link name also, let's say you want to verify this is the name of the link and this is the URL. In that case, you can take map as well. So if the response is 4x's or 5x's category, get the link text, get the link URL, store into a map, and you will get the map at the end of the execution. For this, I have a dedicated video, I have a dedicated post as well. If you want, I can show you right away. You will get one idea. Okay, so before I start this part, I want to quickly check with all of you, how many of you are aware of this response code? 1xx, 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, 5xx. What do I mean by 2xx? It means it's all success category. 3xx redirection, 4xx client errors, 4xx server error. How many response code we have in 1xx? How many response code we have in 2xx? What do you mean by 200, 201, 202, 203, 204? In interviews, when you start giving interviews, right? If you have written APIs, they will be expecting these kind of answers. That what if your API is giving 204? What if your API is giving 201? Right? In that case, you should know. So you don't have to remember all the codes. Frankly speaking, it's not even possible. But at least remember 10 to 15 response code which is frequently asked. And the moment you start working as well, right, you will get daily basis and you will be able to remember easily. So now if you see this post I created like 4 years back in 2018, still it's valid. So now if you have to validate, the response code, you can go with REST assured, which is again a library on top of HTTP client, or you can directly use HTTP client. So again, if you see, it's actually 3 lines of code. First, you need to create object of URL class. Then you need to call a method called open connection, which will return you basically URL connection, which we will typecast into HTTP URL connection. Set a timeout. This is not mandatory, but on the safer side, set a timeout and just connect to the server. Okay, once this connection is done, you just call this method called get response code. You will get the response code. If is equal to 200, I have just given for 200, but you can put a or operator in Java, and you can say if it is in 201, 203, or if the response code is greater than 200 and less than 400, consider this a success. Otherwise, broken. And I have given the screenshot, and this is the video also which I have attached. So same thing will be applicable for images as well. Instead of capturing href here, you will be capturing the src, and the concept will remain same. Okay, now these are the 3 questions which I keep getting. So I already have a dedicated video on this, which is called how to explain framework in interviews, what is your roles and responsibility being an automation tester, explain the Selenium architecture. So these are the 3 frequently asked questions. I already made a dedicated video on this. Each video is around 20 to 25 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes. Please go ahead and watch that. After that video also, if you don't have clarity, you can ask the same thing in the next live session. Okay. Now this is one common question. What is page object model, right? So if you have attended interviews, you must be aware of what is page object model. So before I start what is page object model, I want to listen from all of you. If you don't know the page object model, just say no in the chat, that is fine. But if you know, I want to listen from you. What is page object model? Okay, so many people says I'm aware. Okay, so I can see Ishan, Ashish, Gokul, many people. Okay, so those who are already aware, it's very good, because you will be getting, anyways, you will get a chance to work with APIs, right? So that will help you a lot. Just a second. Okay, so a quick shout out for Selectors Hub. Sanjay Kumar has contributed 400 rupees, and as you all know, he is founder of Selectors Hub, Test Case Studio, and yeah, Test Case Hub as well. So recently he has launched Test Case Hub as well. So if you have not visited, please do visit. It's a game changing. So anyways, we discussed about Selectors Hub, right? But start using it. It will save a lot of time. So thank you so much, Sanjay, once again for the contribution. Okay, so I can see most of the answers, and few are correct, few are wrong. Okay, I can see people are saying it's a design pattern. Vijeta says design pattern. Okay, design pattern, reusability of code. I can see one thing where we define all the dependencies. So Nishan, that is, see, I'm asking about page object model. I'm not asking about the pom.xml file which is available in Maven. So your answer is correct if I would have asked you what is pom.xml file in Maven, but it's a design pattern which I'm asking. Okay, so your answer is correct, but for the different question, but for this question it's wrong. Prakash says all the web elements will be stored. Okay, perfect. How to keep method name in the same class? Just I have given interview in that they have asked. Okay, Ashish, I will talk about this as well. Rakesh, it's a framework where we can include different folder. No, Rakesh, again it's a wrong answer. See, sometimes your one answer can change the complete interview. Okay, so please use it carefully. This is design pattern, yes. Okay, so guys, those who have not visited, please do visit selectorshub.com and start using the plugins. Most of them are completely free and few are pro edition, but that too it's minimal cost, hardly $1 per month. So if you go with the pro edition, obviously you will get a rich UI, many advanced features as well. Now most of the answers are correct, so let's talk about what exactly is page object model. So first of all, it's a design pattern. Okay, so if you're saying it's a framework, no, using this design pattern you can build a framework. So we have around 19 to 20 design pattern, if I'm not wrong. This is one of the design pattern that we use most of the time in automation framework. So can we design or can we have all kind of design pattern in automation frameworks? No, mostly page object model or singleton pattern that we use. So these are the two design pattern. So in singleton design pattern, we create a private constructor. Okay, so it will only allow you to create a single object of that particular session. As the name says, singleton. You cannot have multiple objects, you cannot have multiple sessions. So that design pattern have limitations that in case if you want to run in parallel, that's not a good use case, or that's not a best design pattern for automation, because in automation we will be running our test in parallel mode. So we need a different design pattern where we can have multiple objects, multiple sessions that we can run parallelly, sequentially. That depends on our requirement. So I don't want to make it much complicated. In design pattern page object model, whatever UI you have, so suppose if we have 3 UI, or I will say 3 web pages, for each web page you will have a dedicated class. So if I have login, registration, and let's say payment. For login, I will create a separate Java class. For registration, separate Java class, and for payment, separate Java class. All the locators which is related to login, I will keep inside this Java class. All the locators which is related to this, I will keep here. All the locators related to payment, I will keep here. Now, what about the methods? All the methods which is required for these pages also I will keep in these Java classes. So I will have multiple Java classes which will have locators plus the method which will work on these locators. So I will not be managing the locators in my classes, in my test classes. That's a bad approach. See, when you're starting, it's fine, but the moment you start working with the framework, you need to have a dedicated approach. So this design pattern says the same. Instead of storing all the locators in your test class, you can keep them in a pages. So tomorrow, in case any UI changes, you don't have to modify your test cases. You will be modifying your test pages, or I will say page objects. Now, these pages do not have the test cases. I will repeat again, you should not have any single assertion in your pages. These pages will be having locators and the method to perform on these locators. For example, login page, username, password, and login button. 3 locators, one method which will use these 3 locators and it will perform operation. That's all. Obviously, this page object can return another page, this page can return another page, and so on, that you can chain how you want to use them. But even if you don't want to return, it's perfectly fine. You can create a separate page objects and you can continue. Okay, so now once you have these pages, right, now it's time to create page objects object and start using them. So basically page object, generally we call them as a pages. So this is one page, this is another page, this is another page. Now you can create page objects and you can start using them. So suppose if my application goes through all the pages, login, let's say login, then let's do reverse, registration, then login and payment. So I will be going through multiple pages. So either I can create 3 page objects, or using these pages I can return these objects. I know I'm going a little technical here, but that is how it works. I already have 2 videos on this. One is with page factory, one is without page factory. And that is another question in interviews. What is page object model with page factory, without page factory? What is the difference and what kind of advantage you get once you go with page factory? Okay, so before I talk about page object model, which page with page factory, without page factory, is the theory part at least clear? So the advantage that you will be getting here, one is the reusability part. Reusability means because you already created a login method right here in this page. Now, no matter how many test cases you write, you can use this login method in all the scripts. You will parameterize this. Obviously, you will be taking data from different sources, mostly from Excel. So once this method is written, everybody can start using it. Once your registration, or let's say you have created some other method, all the team members can use it. So first of all, the reusability part will increase. Second is the maintenance, because you already have created a dedicated page where the locators are available, right? So suppose if any changes happen, you will not modify your test, you will modify the pages. So maintenance is very easy. Update here, and all the tests which is referencing to this locator will be taking the updated locator. See, a few years back when this page object model was not that popular, we used to have an object repository. If you are coming from the older times, we used to have object repository in QTP as well, right? And still multiple tools have object repository concept. So object repository is like a file, okay? Generally we keep as a property file. Here in this file, you can maintain all the locators. And all the test cases used to get the locator from this object repository. This was also fine, but here we don't have proper segregation, right? One object repository having everything. But now the page object model have the pages, and they have pages according to their functionality. So I don't have to go back and check the object repository every time. If login is changing, I will go to login page. If payment is getting changed, maybe the UI is getting updated, the functionality is getting added, right? I will update the payment page accordingly. So now let me ask one quick question to all of you. Okay, now when the moment you start working with a page object model, you will see different annotations. Okay, so you will see find by without how, find by with how, find bys, and find all. So generally, again, they can confuse you, but if you're clear with your concepts, you can easily answer them, but you can have multiple questions from this. Again, a small disclaimer here that Simon, who is the official, like one of the founder who started Selenium, that also recommends that instead of using find by, you can directly use by locator. Okay, so by whatever name you want, by.id, by.class name, instead of using find by annotations, you can directly use by locator. I will not say by locator, by class reference. But still, if you have interviews, they can ask what is @find by. Okay, so in page object model, we use one @find by annotation, and here you can write all your locators. You can write ID, name, XPath, CSS, link text, partial link text, so on. And you can just give the value here, and you have to define a web element. This you can write anything. Let's say I want to write this is my username. This can be username 123. This is one syntax. You have to follow it. @find by locator equal to locator value, web element, and the reference variable. This is equal to this find element by ID. Okay, this is exactly same. So whether you go with this or this, both are same, but mostly when you use page object model, you will find the first syntax. So what is the difference? No difference. They both does the same thing. It is just find by used in page object model. Now, the first thing which I showed you, right? The same thing can be replaced or can be used with how. Now it sounds a little weird, but there's a class called how class. How.id, how.name, how.class name, how.link text. So everything is same. Instead of hard coding ID equal to this, we say how.id, and using is actually the value. So what was the problem here? I could have done ID, capital ID. Chances are very high, right? Instead of a small ID, I will write capital ID, both capital A, capital D. Let's say this is class name, but people might write class name like this, class name like this. Chances are very high, right? So they have come up with a separate class where you cannot even make mistake. use how dot, it will give you list of auto suggestions. You can say how dot id, give the id value and continue. So what is the difference? No difference, it's just a syntax difference. They both are equally doing this, so both equal to this. If you want the code, let me quickly show you the code as well. Just a second. Yeah, let me just create a separate class, or maybe just a random page. Okay, I will say home page. So you can see, right, find by, find all, find bys. So I will talk about the difference here, but here just let me copy paste, I don't want to waste time here. So now if you just say how dot, you can see I have the all static final variables. Can you see this? Class name, css, id, id name, link text, partial link text, tag name, xpath. So this is just a class, but if you open this class, okay, let's open this. Okay, it's not a class, it's enum, where we just have some static final values. Can you see? So internally, if you notice the source code, they are doing the same thing. When you say how dot id, behind the scene they're calling by dot id. So either you use directly in your pages by dot id or use it here. They both are doing the same thing. Yeah, makes sense. Now coming back to the old question. Now what is the difference between find by and find bys? As the name says, find by will focus on single web element. Find bys will focus on multiple web elements. So can I say, is it equal to driver.find element versus driver.find elements? Not exactly, but yes, because again find bys have two variations. One is find bys and one is find all. But what is the difference now? The difference also I have here. Let me quickly show you. I have written this note separately so that I can save time. We can talk instead of typing. So when you say find bys, if you see the syntax, you will be using @find bys. Now inside find bys, you can write multiple find by. There's a small one keyword difference. Okay, one character. Find bys can have multiple find by. So you can have find by using id, find by using name, find by using class name, and you can combine into one find bys. Same thing you will be doing with find all as well. If you see the syntax wise, they both are same. Here we use find bys, here we use find all, and inside this you can have multiple find by. But what is the difference? Find bys says to match all the given criteria. It means if I have given 4 find by, all the 4 has to match in find bys. Find all says at least 1. That is a big difference. Find all at least 1. Find bys, all the find by should be satisfied. If you want to see the code, just type find bys. Just a second. Yeah. So the moment you say find bys, it says this lookup should use a series of find bys, and if you use find all, it says that matches any one of the find by. That is a find by at least one, find bys all. It means series of find bys. Clear? So find by without how with how class. Find bys, find all. What is the difference between find bys and find all? Just now we discussed. Now coming back to the question, page object model with page factory, page object model without page factory. So for this, if I come back here, so suppose this is a home page that I have created, right? Now here I will be creating one constructor that is required the moment you start working with page object model. Those who are completely new to Selenium, those who are completely new to design patterns, then you might not understand this, which is perfectly fine. After this session, please go ahead and watch the previous lectures that I have. That will give you enough clarity. What is page object model and why do we need it? Here we need one driver. I will not write the full code, but just I want to show you the difference here. Now if I come back here, if I just say home page, home equal to new home page, it is asking one driver, right? Because in the home page we have created one constructor. Let me create one web driver if it is null. Now it's a local variable, so I have to assign null. This is, I created a page object. So home page was a separate class, right? I created here object home page, home equal to new home page. I'm not using any page factory. Now if I use home page, home new equal to page factory, there's a dedicated class altogether. If you see the line, it says factory class to make using page objects simpler and easier. They have a wiki page as well if you want to visit. It's opening here. Let me keep it in the main page. Guys, I would highly recommend to read this page. Hardly it will take 2 to 3 minutes, but trust me, it will clear so many doubt about page object model. That's the official documentation, so whatever I'm saying you can cross verify here, plus very easy explanation that without page object model how your script will look like, what kind of disadvantage or the issues you might face, and when you go with page object model how it will look like. Very beautiful documentation, highly recommended. Coming back to our code, page factory dot, you can see I have something called init element, right? So if you see this part, init elements, as the name says, initialize web element. So this page factory, which is a class, it has a static method. It says give me the driver, okay, and which page you want to initialize. For example, if I take this one, right, it is asking me which page you want to initialize. So if I give home page, the first one and the second one, the first one without using page factory still applicable, still works, because you already have a constructor, you are calling this class, passing the value, and you can use this driver, still it will work. Second one, using page factory. Now what is the difference? First of all, they have a dedicated class to make page objects more simpler, more meaningful, more readable. If you are someone who is technically sound, you can understand what we are doing at the first statement, right, without using page factory. But don't you think that second example make more sense? It says that we have multiple pages, consider as a page factory. What page you want, I will give you that page. For example, I have a factory of, let's say, mobiles. If you ask me one mobile, I will give you one mobile. Let's say I have a factory of maybe bottles. You ask one bottles, I will give you bottles. Same thing with page factory. It says I have multiple pages. If you request for the home page, I will create object, return you this object, page object. If you need login, just give me the login page request. I will create object and I will return the exact page object. So if you see, the first it will ask you, give me the driver. Then the second, which page you want to initialize. In my case, I want to initialize my home page. So homepage.class. It will return you object of the same. So tomorrow if I give registration.class, it will give me page object of registration class. Syntax wise, yes, obviously there's a change. Okay. But anything else, I don't think much. But the moment you start using init element, makes more sense. Now there's again a tricky question. Can I call this page factory.init element in the constructor of the home page? Answer is yes. And if you see the official documentation also, they also did the same thing. So let me show you. Okay, just a second. So this is without page factory, without page object model, and this is with page object model. So they created the constructor exactly, and they called fine. This is also fine. Okay, so they have not used page factory here, but this is how it will look like. You can actually do that page factory init elements here as well. So it's kind of a mix that you will be doing. I don't generally prefer the second one, okay, but still if you're doing that, at the end of the day you will be initializing the web elements here. Okay, hope it is clear. So whatever you use, both will be fine, but page factory looks more standard, more meaningful, and it is actually giving you more, I will say, readability part, that you are using page factory class, which is now coming from Selenium, which is helping you to initialize web elements, pass the page object, return you the page object. You can continue with the same. Now one last question from the same thing. What is, just a second, one more questions I had it here. Yeah. So before I take the next question, is this clear to everyone? Let me know if I'm going a little fast. Just a second, yeah. Guys, please give me quick confirmation. Is all clear? Do you have any question, any doubt so far? Those who are live and not replying, please, I'm requesting at least say yes, no. Give me some kind of confirmation that you are still listening, you are live, you are active. If doubt, please ask. If clear everything, just say yes or no, whatever comes in your mind. Let me read couple of questions from the chat. Kajal, that part is done. Sushil says, using Findby annotations, we are keeping in the separate class. Yes, we have done. Where we write all the, that is also done. Now, Blaze Froste, please use your real name. Then I will be taking a question. Padmaja says, is it safe to install older version? Yes, why not? See, now Chrome has this auto update feature, so obviously it will get updated. And just want to announce there are a couple of issues with 103, so you might find a couple of compatibility issues 103. So 104 is already in the beta, it will be coming soon. So if you have any issue, you can start using WebDriver Manager. Even after that you have issue, degrade to 102 or use the beta version which is available. It is working fine. Rahman says, can we bypass captcha using Selenium? Not recommended, Rahman, even though I have made one video how to capture the captcha. Even I have captured the captcha of IRCTC using OCR engine. So there's one Tesseract OCR engine available where you can pass the image. It will capture the text from that image, will return you as a string. So if you have that basic captchas, Tesseract OCR engine can do that. I have a video on that, but not recommended. Aditya says, hi Mukesh, will you be covering JS in the live classes and iNeuron courses? I see pre-existing videos. So Aditya, that videos are recorded by Hitesh Chaudhary. So before, like if somebody wants to even learn before the session start, they can go with the pre-recorded sessions. I'm also recording a couple of sessions on Cypress that also you will see before the course itself. That is only for those who are very interested. They want to start as soon as possible. For them, we are uploading there. But anyways, this will be live. So from day one, I will be the instructor. Hitesh Chaudhary will be joining as a mentor. He will also join for a couple of live sessions, but mostly I will be taking that batch. Again, those who are interested, please I'm requesting to all of you, if you are not interested, if any of your friend is also interested, you can share this link. This is another batch which I'm starting from 16 July, Cypress, Playwright, WebDriver IO along with JavaScript. 4,000 after discount 3,600, but it's a very lengthy course, 5 to 6 months live training. Plus you will get obviously the videos after every class. Okay. There's a affiliate program also in case if you're interested, you can also earn. I can see all says yes, no questions so far. Tushar says yes as of now. Bharti says Cucumber framework also need. We will try Bharti, as of now not planned. Okay, Aya says, could you please explain again cache loop? Okay, so cache I have not explained. I will talk about, it's not cache loop, it's cache lookup. Okay. Savita says, how can I contact you? Savita, I'm live right now. Please let me know what kind of queries you have. But if you are not comfortable right now, you can drop an email, ping me on my official Instagram handle. We can quickly connect and see if you have any doubt. Vijeta Genesis have already registered looking. Thank you so much, Vijeta. Manoj says, I'm interested. Manoj, the coupon code will be active for a few more days. If you are interested, you need to register a little fast. Just a second. Okay, now there's one more question that is frequently asked, that what is this cache lookup? Okay, so when you use with Findby, okay, then you can use one more annotation called cache lookup. What exactly is this cache? So by default, what happens the moment you say driver.find elements, right? It makes a call, right? It checks, do we have this element on the page? If yes, you will get a web element. If not, no such element exception, right? So even if I have to find 1,000 elements, 1,000 times it will search and we'll get the web element. But if you think some elements will not change, some elements we don't have to look to the web page each and every time. So you can use one annotation called @cache lookup. So what exactly it does? It will instruct Selenium to keep a cache of this web element instead of searching for the element each and every time. So what is the advantage here? Obviously, since it will not be searching to this web element each and every time, it will save a lot of time. So if you want to see the official documentation as well, just go back to Eclipse. Okay, find by, let's say id equal to this, web element this, okay, just put mouse over, it says marker annotations to be used or applied to web elements to indicate that it never changes. Okay, so obviously, okay, if you open this, you can see it's separate interface altogether. So the main purpose of using this annotation is you are marking up that this element will not change and it should be in the cache, and every time a new request will not be made. So do one thing, if you want to really see the difference, create one script minimum 10 steps with cache lookup, without cache lookup. You will see the big difference. Okay, we have 4 more minutes. I know it's Friday time, I'm taking a lot of time today, so I have 2 more questions, but that will take another 10 to 15 minutes. So let's do it on Monday. If you want, we can do it right away as well, but it's Friday time. If you want to have a quick break, enjoy your weekend, and again we can resume from Monday. Okay, so any other questions? I'm just checking, did I miss anything? Yes, Padmaja, go ahead. You will not face much issues. Okay. Now, few more questions and then we will end this live. One question from Pankesh. How to check if all the images are intact on the web page, asked in interviews. See, Pankaj, instead of saying intact, okay, what you can do, we can first check the functionality, that is important. Now, when you say the position, right? So generally, so we have one method called get location dot get x dot get y. So you can see the coordinate. If the coordinates are changing, it means it is changing from one portion to another portion. So we also have dimensions. Okay, get dimension, get location. So using get dimension, it will give you the dimension of that particular web element, and get location will give you the location of that particular web element. So if I show you here, find element by, let's say, x path, get location, get x, it will give you the x coordinate and it will give you the y coordinate. Okay, so generally, let's say if your logo is coming here, obviously you will be having one x and y coordinate here, right? Tomorrow, if it is getting here, obviously the values will change. So you can put an assertion accordingly, and that will help you to decide whether the location has been changed or not. So this is for one element. In the same way, if you have multiple elements, you can map them, okay, and then put the assertion. So in TestNG, we have assert class where you can assert to list, to set, maps, multiple collections. So if you have list based assertion also, you can use assert class in TestNG. Tomorrow is fine. So Manoj, probably that coupon code will get expire next Sunday. So till Sunday you can hold. But if you really want, maybe you must have got your salary, you can register now. Bharti says, as experienced candidate, Cucumber is must need to learn, or is it optional? It's not optional, Bharti, anymore. Market is very competitive. You should not keep it as an option. Nowadays, every single person knows Selenium Java. Even a fresher knows Selenium with Java. So this is must feature now. Selenium Java with BDD. Okay. And rest assured. Not rest assured, at least one framework for the API. Adit says how to schedule in how to schedule God in. Adit, can you repeat your question? Bala says, can we debug testing? Please let me know, Bala, what is debug testing? Please reframe your question, because I don't think there's something called debug testing. Or maybe is there anything, but I am not sure on this. What is debug testing? Never done that. Adit says companies want experienced candidate. How to get job as fresher in manual and automation. See, Aditya, now when you talk about how to get into the testing as a, I will say, fresher, nowadays companies, okay, they are looking for the skills. Okay, now let's say I have a requirement for 5 years experience, okay, but I have taken a couple of interviews, they are not fit. But as a fresher, if you can justify, if you can crack that interview, why not? So if you're a completely fresher, I don't think you will have much issues. But let's say if you're 2016 pass out, 15 pass out, and you're applying after 7 years, then obviously you might get a couple of challenges. You have to justify your experience, that your gap, that why you were not working, or maybe if you're working from, you worked on the different domain, maybe support or something, why you are switching to testing, right? So I don't know about exact your background, that you which year pass out you are, and why you're not getting calls, because getting interview calls is little tricky sometimes. Most of the things nowadays coming from LinkedIn. I would highly recommend, don't focus only on the job portal, start approaching the recruiters on the LinkedIn, be active on the LinkedIn, interact, because now it's all about the connection game. I have seen most of my friends are getting calls from LinkedIn. My friends are applying. I joined iNeuron, so I'm not looking for now full-time automation tester, but I'm working as educator, mentor, instructor, whatever you call. But still a lot of companies are hiring. So if you're not getting called, please go through your resume, see what why it is not even getting shortlisted, because there's so many openings right now. Every day I get 15 to 16 calls every day. So something is wrong. Check out your resume, make little interesting, add something which is really needed in the market right now, because if you don't add the skills that is required for that particular position, obviously they will not get they will not even shortlist your resume. Interview is the next part. So maybe check out your resume first if you're not getting calls. Once you're getting called, then in interviews, if you're not able to clear, then you have to see why you are getting rejected. Okay, so let me take one question. So before this live started, one question was from Deepa. Deepa says, hi Mukesh, need one help from you. I need to finish this assignment. Could you please tell me how to do it? Log into Gmail, click on compose. In the subject, test email, body test, write the body. Label as social, send the email to the same account which was used to log in. Wait for the email to arrive in the inbox under proper label, social media. So Deepa, this is quite easy, right? Now what I did when I did last time this Gmail login, it blocked that particular account. Okay, it will send you the OTP if you have given that number right while creating that Gmail account, or it will ask you another code in that secondary email. So nowadays Gmail is restricting now login from Selenium or any other using automation tool. If it is not able, if it is not restricting you, it's very easy. Only this email part is in the frame, if I'm not wrong. So just see whether they have added the frame, nested frame or not. So the thing that you have mentioned hardly take few clicks. Type click, add in the social, verify using get text. Once you get it, get the text, verify using testng, and execute using Maven command. Ashish says, sometimes interviewer taking 1 hour of interview and then rejecting. I'm literally moving into depression for the rejection, and current company don't have project. They informed me to look job outside. See Ashish, first of all, generally rejection happens within 30 minutes. If they are rejecting you after 1 hour, it means still you are able to keep them engaging at least for the 1 hour. See, if what I do personally, when I see that candidate is not having enough potential or not perfect fits, I will immediately, within 15-20 minutes, I close the interview, because I don't want to waste my time and the other time. So if you're saying after 1 hour they are rejecting you, it means you're able to engage them till the last. Only that some part is missing from your end, that you have to figure it out. It could be few answers, it could be few statements that you're giving is wrong, or it could be something which they're not able to relate. So attend some mock interviews, listen your own recordings, see what kind of mistakes you're doing, analyze your answers, cross verify with the mentors or with your friends, because you're getting calls. Okay, the only thing you're not able to clear it, so nobody can help you except you. So you have to just analyze what is your, I will say, not problem, but where exactly you're lagging. If you want a quick mock interview, we can have a mock interview on YouTube as well. It will be live on the YouTube. You will get a lot of, I will say, not popularity, but kind of feedback from the different users, different viewers as well. And let me know if you're interested in the mock interview. It will be live on the YouTube. Otherwise, we can have a quick call maybe next weekend, and I can tell you what is going wrong. Okay, so I will take 2 more questions, then we will end this live. Ashish, is this clear now? Aditya says, I'm 2021 pass out. Thank you for guidance. Best of luck, Aditya. 2021, you are just getting started. Okay, so even if you're getting as an internship, go ahead. If you know Cypress, I'm ready to hire. We are hiring for 1 mentor on Cypress. Obviously stipend will be little less, but you will get a lot of exposure. So for my coming batch, I'm looking for 1 more mentor. So when I say mentor, I will be teaching, but you will be guiding others for some small queries. If you are interested, let me know. We're looking for some interns right now. Prashish says, can you please share that Gmail questions? Prashish, it is on the top. That is the first question asked by Deepa. Please go ahead and give a try. Ashish, be active on LinkedIn. Start applying. See, if you're not getting calls, just scroll down. Nowadays, many people are tagging me on LinkedIn, and I'm resharing that post. So be active on the LinkedIn, make more connections. So today, even 3 companies tagged me, and I have reshared that as well. So please be active on the LinkedIn as well. Most of the calls are coming from LinkedIn nowadays. Shiva, this is the last question. After this, we will end this live. Shiva says, for JavaScript, do we need to learn JavaScript, Cypress, Playwright, or WebDriver IO? Do we need just one JavaScript? Again, your question is little confusing, but I got your points. You mean to say, do we need to learn JavaScript for Cypress? Answer is yes. Not extensively, but if you have the knowledge, you can build the logics. So again, the question, do we need to learn all of them? Obviously no. So in real time, either you will be working with JavaScript with Cypress, JavaScript with Playwright, JavaScript with WebDriver. You will not be combining all of them. No, they all are different framework. They all works independently. They have different architecture altogether. But why we have added in the course? Because many people was looking for this. Many people were looking for Playwright. Many people are using WebDriver IO. So we have combined all these frameworks, or I will say libraries, in one course. So those who are interested in this, they can continue. But if you learn all of them, you will have good understanding about the different tools. You can compare them. In future, if you get any of the new projects, you will have a fair idea of comparison as well, right? Okay, so that's all from my side. We can end this live now. So how was the session? Just give me quick feedback. Did you learn anything new from this live session? Anything new that you have discovered today which you have not discovered earlier? Ritesh says, do you have REST assured API tutorials? Ritesh, I have around 7 videos, and that is not enough, I know, but still many videos are in pipeline. Maybe after 16th July I will start uploading videos on REST assured. So let's see. But yes, I have 7 videos that will give you quick start how to use REST assured. And okay, so yes. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining. It's Friday. Please enjoy your Friday. Have a nice weekend. Next weekend, this coming weekend, which is tomorrow, we have a hackathon 4.0 with collaboration with Native Base. It's a hackathon plus jobathon. We have a couple of openings as well. So few openings are for mentors, few openings are for the developers. If you are in Bangalore, you can join us tomorrow. It's 24 hours event. And in case of you're looking for some part-time job, we have some openings. Few are for full-time, few are for part-time as well. Okay, Shiva says, I am refreshing Selenium interview questions, though I'm working on automation tester. Okay, great, Shiva, best of luck. See, you need a different mindset also for interviews, because when you work, right, you don't focus on the interview questions, but interview questions give more clarity, right, in-depth things. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, and I will see you again on Monday. So wishing you all happy weekend.